It is like 4:11 on my birthday, 30 years old, single, not ready to mingle. I'm currently moving my whole life and career, finishing up today in there. Everything that you guys know and love is just empty. A final walkthrough and just give the house gratitude and give Paul and the mini human gratitude and looking a little bit different at the Living to DIY headquarters. Going through a chapter, and we're gonna be moving our set, everything from our 3-car garage into this shed. I officially have a she shed. So today we're gonna clean it out, empty it out, kind of assess. Well, that's new for you and new for me, and I'm gonna share the entire thing. I have partnered up with my friends over at Squarespace to bring to you my newest chapter in my life, transforming this tiny shed into my new headquarters. And Holly actually has an attic she doesn't use. She doesn't like to go up there. We're not losing storage space. We're moving this to up in the attic that is not being used right now. The amount of messes, you guys, was out of control. She also has to figure out all of her stuff because now I need to move in. It's just like a crazy... This is so weird. The strangest things, but onwards and upwards, right? Oh. Thanks for the incredible 7 years. Let's start a new chapter. This shed is about 88 square feet, and I added all the dimensions down below for each wall as well, so you guys can get a better idea. And what's cool about this is Holly gave me the idea to create the copper workshop table to be outside versus inside like I originally planned, which definitely opened up this shed and giving it a lot more opportunity. The first thing that we're gonna be doing is painting it white because that is gonna give me more light when shooting, but also open it up per every other room that I have painted white. It just makes it look large and in charge. You'll be seeing a lot of stuff being carried over from my last workshop to this one because quite frankly I love my aesthetic, and if it's not broken, don't fix it. So I'm not going to try to venture out. There'll be a couple of new things, but the tried and true pegboard is going to be carried over because it's a great storage solution for any workshop. I'm going to be drilling that into place and adding 2x4s where needed to support the edges of the pegboard. You want to also drill down the middle so it's not like wobbling out or shifting. Instead of overwhelming the space with pegboard, you can actually use the in-between framing and other 2x4s for shelving. So I'm just adding a little sliver to the opposite wall to kind of ground everything together because again, this is a set at the same time as being a shop. So I want it to be functional. Yeah, I obviously want every angle to be looking good in my camera. You guys should know by now that I love my whiteboard, so if this isn't something that you need, you obviously don't need to add it, but I'm going to be trimming out the whiteboard and the pegboard just to add a neutral piece of wood or natural piece of wood to the walls since we're going to have natural wood shelving as well. But before we do that, I wanted to take a break from the inside, come to the outside, and start to install a window because I do need more light than what is in there now. I was terrified to install a window, but it is essentially cutting out a hole in the wall, reframing the back end to support the window, and then weatherproofing the window when you install it. 3 basic steps. You obviously have to find the center of the wall or wherever you are going to be cutting the window. I just made this as easy as possible for me since it was my first time. I used my multi-tool to open up the corners, and then I went in with my Sawzall to cut the window out. Oh yeah, this should have been a nice view. I like the view that I see. Hello, new chapter in life, same cocktail. I framed the inside with 2x4s, which is fairly easy. I did think I framed the bottom portion wrong. It should be just a long 2x4 on the bottom. I didn't notch out the existing one before, so there is my mistake, but I can fix that. I weatherproofed and installed, but before I show you, obviously, the reveal and more to this, I want to show you how we painted the shed from this pink to trim it in black and what we were hoping to be charcoal. Definitely wasn't charcoal. It ended up being like a deeper blue, which is gorgeous because we are going to be painting the house either a black, a charcoal, or a white. So it's a nice pop of color. It definitely was not intentional though. Are you very happy, sir? Oh. I am doing my same shelf setup from before with the braces that I got from my local Home Depot, but to be honest, I don't need a ton of storage in this shed, minus for like my big saws and my table saw and my vacuum. I have the whole metal cabinetry system in the garage, so all my nuts, bolts, tools, paints, everything that you guys didn't see before, it's still living in that workshop space, but that is living in the garage. This gets to be more of like a playful, fun moment for my tools, and then the other larger things that I need to store that are just getting in the way in the garage. Because I'll be shooting outdoors just as much as I'm shooting indoors, I wanted the outdoors to be just as cute. So I added my DIY metal letters that I got from Michael's and a couple of different succulents onto the wall. This geometric wood design thing that I had to the right of my triangle in my previous set, I hung directly up against the shed wall right into it, and then I'm adding another plant to just add a pop of green because I think greens and blues just look gorgeous, especially with that copper table right in front of it. I framed out the window and painted that black to keep it cohesive, but I decided to add a flower box and create a gardening moment on this side because when you're sitting in the pool looking at the back of the house or like where you can sit where we're entertaining, you see this side of the shed, and I really wanted it to be gorgeous all the way around. I have DIY'd this before on my channel, so I will link it for you, but really why I wanted to add a flower box underneath that window is to add some florals that have a lot of color, since the garden itself is just going to be overwhelmingly green, which is not a bad thing at all, but I did just want a little pizzazz, if you will. Now, as far as the quote-unquote garden goes underneath, I'm just gonna be potting them. I'm not gonna be doing any veggie beds or anything like that since we just have a little bit of concrete area right now, and that's not enough place to put any furniture or sit. So like I said, I used the 4 huge pots that Holly has had there for a long time and just revamped them with some actual... What? Am I speaking English anymore? I don't know what's happening. You get it. I planted a garden. To finish up the exterior of the shed is just one more thing, and it's this door. This is the existing door that was on there. I just took the piece of plywood off of the back of it so I can see the metal support and cut in between those with my multi-tool and circular saw to create DIY windows or like a glass door. I decided to weatherproof and then installed the plexiglass to each empty slot. The reason there's a lip of the wood outside of the copper on the inside is because the window needed a place to sit, and if I were to cut that flush to the metal, it would have had nowhere to support. So we'll fix that with a DIY a little bit later. It looks a little bit janky right now. Now you can see why I made that big back wall like a more decorative wall, because that's what you'll be seeing from the outside in. I think seeing a pegboard automatically would just look a little bit clustered. So I really liked putting my workshop table that will be able to fold down on that larger wall that you can look into and see from now that DIY faux glass door. And now I'm hanging the plant because I didn't want to show you guys the door yet. So I'm editing this all crazy because this is how my mind was working throughout this project. One thing that I did, I don't know if it's going to be an oopsie because I've been able to use all the tools so far, is I taped off and spray painted all my tools black because I was so sick of this lime green. Again, I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing. They have worked perfectly thus far, but it was just like a mental breakdown moment where I was like, I'm painting them black, that's it, and that's exactly what I did. Personally, I'm really excited that I chose to frame out the pegboard and the whiteboard on the walls that they stand, just because I feel like adding that natural wood, the pine, to each wall is just grounding it a little bit more. Instead of keeping the floors just a wood, I went ahead and I painted it with a garage epoxy paint, and I'm gonna be honest with you, this thing has held up so well throughout the last 3 weeks I've been making this over. I don't think it's a permanent solution by any means, but I do think it's a quick fix to give yourself some new flooring. You know, I love my bulb lights in my old shop, so I bought some white strand ones and lined the ceiling so I could work at night. As far as the smaller details, I transferred over, what? That's such a business term. No, I just brought my Be Still and Know for my wood storage from my previous workshop and made that the full moment of my decorative wall that you see from the outside in. I pocket hole screwed some 2x4s to create some DIY shelving where it was needed. Wow, holy sunburn on my back. And then I moved forward with cutting a slit into one of the 2x8s that I had to fit my circular saw that I didn't want to hang. And this was really clever, and this is from Ben Ueda of Homemade Modern and his solar-powered shop shed makeover. After I was done installing all the 2x4 shelves that I wanted throughout the shed, I painted the framing and the shelving white and then moved to the exterior to paint this bottom, which is metal. It is the previous pink. I painted that a gray just to make it less intrusive to your vision when you look at it like, why is this blue and then pink? Just a really quick fix. While that paint dries, I would like to take a second to thank today's sponsor, Squarespace, for making this new chapter in my life a little bit easier and making this shed possible. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. And for me, I actually mentioned I was going to be doing somewhat of a blog situation, and I'm full-blown moving forward with that because Squarespace has powerful blogging tools that can tell your story, share your updates, post photos and videos. And you know, I want to keep you guys in the loop now. Whether you're looking to start an online shop, connect with customers a little bit more, or even just share your story via a blog, Squarespace makes it insanely easy, and I'm really excited to get started on my first website with them. How they have everything laid out really takes the intimidation out of building a website. So if you guys are interested, go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Metz to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. One suggestion I have for you guys as you see me organizing my pegboard walls, I organize them how I pull. So the small wall to like the far left that is little and off on its own is because I don't really pull things from that wall too often, but my power tool, my hand tool wall, that makes a lot more sense. So be sure to organize to work efficiently in your shop and to know kind of like blindly what you can pull without having to look. That's how I like to set up my shop. Much as I miss my jumbo calendar, I did save it. It's just not feasible for the workshop that I have now. So I downsized to a small monthly planner, but I do like having a monthly planner in my shop because it organizes all my projects and makes me stay on track. Rolling miter saw stands that you can DIY are awesome and legit, but realistically, I don't really want to do that. So I just have my miter saw stands that can collapse and fold down, and I can easily move them in and out of the shop, but I don't necessarily need it on wheels or to DIY something for it. My goodness. There are two baby birds, hummingbirds that we watched since birth. Look at this, and they're learning to fly right now. Here's one, Doinky, from his OG nest over here, which his brother is then right, or brother or sister, I don't know, but then the second one is right there. I am filming to try to see their first flight. Oh my God, is this what I'm doing now with my life? I mean, who wouldn't watch baby hummingbirds just grow? Oh, they grow up so fast. They flew away and it made me so sad, but also proud. Maybe they'll visit. Anyways, this is crazy. I had to break down my copper table, which made me very sad, but thank goodness I know how to put it back together. Instead of it remaining stationary, I added some rolling casters because this thing is beefy and very heavy, and I don't really know how I'm going to be working out here, so I wanted to have the opportunity to move it around. I could not flip this thing by myself though. As far as the folding table on the inside of the shed, I pocket hole screwed together some basic legs that I was going to originally add to hinges, which I did, you will see. But the minute I added them to the hinges, I was looking at it and just thinking, I don't think this table is gonna fold down, just like the issue I had with my quote unquote folding workshop table from before. It didn't look like it was going to happen. I moved forward anyways with using my circular saw to cut out a piece of plywood that I had on hand into a trapezoid. This shorter side, which is measuring 50 inches, is going up against the wall. The longer side, which is 64 inches, is going to be like the table that would be touching you if you were standing up against it. What am I saying right now? I'm blaming my breakup brain on that one. I added a 2x4 because I will be adding hinges to this since the hinges cannot connect to the framing. It just doesn't make any sense. You want to support the table properly. So that is why I'm doing a 2x4, securing that into those studs behind it. That way I can attach the hinges to the 2x4 and it can securely hold the weight of what needs to be folded up and folded down. Painted that 2x4 white, but I'm going to be keeping the table itself its natural plywood. While that was drying, I sanded down the plywood roughly with some 80 and 120 just to smooth out everything, and I even rounded the edges just a bit. I wiped this down free of debris before I installed it. I'm not adding a stain or a finish because hopefully I'm beating this thing up with new projects. I connected it to the 2x4 with the hinges that I painted copper, and I loved this color combo. And while the legs worked great on the hinges, when I went to fold it down, the problem that I knew was going to arose. Wait, English is hard. I ended up taking those legs off and then just using one square dowel per each side and nail gunning and gluing a 90-degree angle and marking where those legs need to go every time I lift up the table for it to be properly secured. And it was a way easier way to do this because I'm not going to be doing crazy weight bearing DIYs on this table. I'll be doing that on my copper table. Between moving my life, career, and dog and just figuring myself out, this took roughly 3 weeks, and I am insanely proud. I do feel weird sharing this. It wasn't exactly what I wanted to be talking about or showcasing on my channel. Again, I know this is so small and non-existent to everything that's going on in the world that needs and demands and requires our attention, but I would have felt so fake popping up and being in a whole new zone and you just not seeing the things that you know and love. So I wanted to be real, raw, and honest with you guys. This is our new chapter. I poured all my pain into this shed, and there was something wildly liberating about this makeover because for once I didn't have to consider anything or anybody. I just really thought about, who are you? What do you want, and what do you want to reflect? And not only am I doing that in my personal life, but obviously given everything going on as well, it's making me like double question and really look inwards to see what I can do, not only on a relationship level in general, but also in a worldly sense, in a worldly level, to give back change and be the change that I want to see. Like I said before, I am going to be working inside and outside, so having a pop-up tent is crucial and key. This thing pops up and pops down real easy, so I can just put it away for the day and then move my table back, put my seating area there, and it's nice and new. But just in general, you want to make your workspace work with you, not against you. So make your life a little bit easier and start to consider the little things that will make your work life a lot easier. I run my power from the garage into the shed. I'm gonna have my dad potentially hook this up with electrical, but because everything is battery operated, I really don't need it. I know that sounds crazy, but it works this way. At night when I load this sucker up, I can put my vacuum in, take those legs off of that workshop table and store them behind the 2x4 that we put for the support, and then load anything else up that I need in here. And I still have a ton of floor space, which is amazing. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It's like just weird to share it. I'm happy it's out because we are not slowing down. Things are actually speeding up way quicker than anticipated, and it is going to be weird because I need to process my emotions and everything at the same time. But what I can do, all I know how to do, like I said last time, is work. So let's work at signing those petitions, donating where we can, doing what we can to be the change that we would like to see. But also on top of that, things that you're going through are valid in your personal life. That is something I am learning right now. You can't just discredit them and be like, okay, bye, see you later. We can't really process life at the moment. I'm balancing the two, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring today's episode. I will see you very soon for another DIY. I really love you guys so much.